Thanks for coming back. Nice to see you today. Today what we're going to do is we're going to start off by making the first part of making bagels. And the kneading recipe, we talked a little bit about a sponge. A sponge is kind of like the starter that we use in order to make the bagels. And maybe you can use Japanese, you can use a kiji, kind of like a batter. We're going to do that. But before we get into that, I want to show you why we're going to be using weights. All of our recipes are going to be in the weights instead of volume. So we're going to be using grams and kilograms instead of cups and pounds. And I'm going to show you why here. Okay? Here we have bread flour. In Japanese, we call that what? Kyoriko. Here's my oyaji gag. Kyoriko. You don't have to laugh. And here we have our all-purpose flour. It's your churikiko.
No.
What is it called?
Komugiko.
Komugiko. You gonna call it ku? Okay, sorry. Komugiko. All right. I want to show you why we use weights instead of volumes to do this. Okay. Here we have our scale. Right. We're gonna turn our scale on. The scale is at 0. Right. I'm gonna take a cup of all-purpose flour and weigh it. We have our bowl that we're going to weigh. We put this back to 0, right? We're going to weigh a cup of all-purpose flour. Level it off. We have 112 grams. 0 this. All-purpose flour, same thing. Spoon to measure. And then we're going to give it a tap and level off. And the weight. 110. So you notice there's a difference in the weight. Even though they both were 1 cup, the weights were different. So in the recipes that we're going to be using, we're going to give you the weight instead of the volume, because the weight is a bit more accurate. Especially when you start combining flours. In some of our recipes in the future, we're going to be using combined bread flour and combined all-purpose flour together. So the percentage of those needs to be consistent in the recipe. So we're going to be using weights in order to do that. Okay? So let's get into our sponge or our kiji. We're going to set these aside. We're done with these. Okay, so to start us off, we're going to need a few tools, okay? You're going to need a whisk or something to stir with. We're going to use a spatula. And we don't really need a brush, but you're going to need a bowl. I just have all of these out here to show you the comparison of size, what I like to use. Because we're going to be making this sponge, it's going to rise a little bit. It's going to be very liquidy. It's going to rise, and before it falls, we're going to catch it before it falls. So if you use a small bowl, you don't have, for the weights that we're using, it's going to be not able to rise without spilling over. So what I like to do here is going to use maybe this. This is the size that we're going to use. Okay, set those aside. So what we have here, we have 4 grams of yeast, right? And we have 240 grams of bread flour. Okay, and then as you can see here with our water, we have our water weight here. It's about, the volume here is about 400 milliliters. Okay.
400 milliliters.
Alright, so what we're going to do, we just put our bread flour in. Oh, that's why we have the brush. You don't have to, but if you want, you can get as much of the flour in there as you like. Okay, you don't have to do that. Then our yeast. And I like to just give that a little mix. Make sure it's distributed evenly as much as possible. Right? Then we go ahead and we add our water. I like to add it all at once.
それは普通の温度、お湯ではないね。
It's a tap water.
タップウォーターというのは水道の水です。
And you want this to be mixed really nice, you know? Okay? So we want this to be smooth, no lumps, okay? Not like grandma's gravy, okay? No lumps.
ダマがないようにしっかり。
Okay? And really, you cannot over mix this at all because,
あんまり混ぜすぎないでね。
no, I said no. It's not possible to over mix this.
ああ、オーバーミックスするほどでもないよって。混ぜすぎっていうことにはならないからね。
You can mix it hard and nice and hard, right? When you're making like muffins and stuff like that, you don't want to over mix it. But this
マフィ
guy
ンとかはね、やりすぎちゃダメだけど、これは
here, it's okay.
いっぱい混ぜといて。
Okay, so that's what I like to do there. You see how it's really a batter. It's really a batter. Then what we're going to do with our spatula, you want to scrape down the sides. Get everything down to the bottom. Now the reason why I like to do this is so that I can see how far it's rising in the future later on when we take a look at it. If you take a look here, you'll see the sides are nice and clean. I'll be able to see how much it rises. Right now there's very few bubbles, but because the yeast is a living organism, it's going to need to eat and gas, breathe, and you're going to be able to see a lot of bubbles in here in the future. So what we're going to do right now, it's about 4 o'clock. This is going to really sit for maybe another 5-6 hours, maybe. We'll give it some chance depending on how many bubbles. From time to time, we'll come back to check and see how it looks. So we're just going to give it a rest here. You want to cover that with some saran wrap, okay, to keep it nice and tight. And then that'll be it for our sponge. Okay. The next part of the video is going to show you how we incorporate the rest of the flour and the rest of the ingredients in here to get our final dough. Okay. So thanks for watching.